May the 23rd, 2017, and we are about to embark on our cruise, Caribbean and Amazon adventure on the SS Navigator. And we spend the first night in Miami before boarding and are proud to see that it's still flying the Bahamian flag. The cruise lasts 25 days and goes down the Caribbean, up the Amazon, and then back up to Miami. We say goodbye to Miami and introduce you to our cabin, which you may have seen already as we were on this boat from Vancouver to Anchorage. And of course you will remember it. The weird shot is us going down in the elevator. It's a bit scary. And the sky is just beautiful that evening, and we had hoped to wave to Rosemary on Harbour Island, but we passed in the night, and so missed her. Put breakfast in the Veranda Cafe, which is always a nice buffet, and we're told to look out for birds, and that's a brown booby. Day 2, and we're now in the Atlantic Ocean, as opposed to the Bahamian Sea, and to keep us busy, they have a wine tasting. Unfortunately, most of the good wines are not open. And it's important to check out the facilities. We don't want to be wearing our underwear for 2 weeks. Now, our lecturer is Michael Scott. Michael Scott is from the Highlands of Scotland, and he explains the wildlife we're going to see and what we are going to experience in each of the places that we stop at. Our first port of call is Gustavia, the capital of St. Bart's, which is French, and the population is 8,600, and it caters to an upmarket tourists. It doesn't have facilities for a large ship like ours, so we go ashore by tender. And on the way, it's a little wet, or it was where I was sitting. St. Bart's is volcanic, and the vegetation is tropical and lush. There's not a lot of agriculture, they explain, as it is pretty hilly, and there are 22 beaches, apparently. That's one of them. The airport is pretty hard to land at as it goes uphill or downhill, depending on which way you're coming. And if you miss, you end up in the sea. Downtown after the tour, we had lunch at a nice French restaurant, ceviche and tiger prawns, and then it was back to the ship, and just to make sure we were getting on the right one. There it is. It was a steamy day, so a little dip in the pool, which was not too cold, and we're off again to St. Lucia. St. Lucia is described as magnificent, with towering mountains, dense rainforests, fertile green valleys, and acres of banana plantations, and another dangerous airport. The population is around over 100,000, and 65,000 of whom live in Castres, which is the capital, where we dock. This looks like one of the poorer areas on the hill, but okay. The bus is waiting to take us on tours, and our breakfast before we go. It's a Saturday, so the streets appear to be crowded, and our bus winds its way up a number of hairpin bends to a place where there is an artist's studio, where we're going to get a batik demonstration. I asked our guide whether 1896 was the number of the street or the year it was founded, and I was told it was the year it was founded. Our guide on the right, who was very nice, a little bit rough, but very nice. And then we get a demonstration of what they can do with coconuts, which was very interesting. There are many uses for them, and then we get the batik demonstration and a view of the lush countryside, vegetation, and the town of Castres. Next we visit Stoney House, the home of Dr. Stoney, who was a surgeon in Nassau in the 70s. Quite an enterprising guy, obviously, as he opens his house to the public and has a magnificent garden which we toured. The Orchid House at Stoney Hill is owned by an English guy, obviously, who introduced himself. No fish. Ah, yes, a fish. That is the jackfruit, and next to it was a kapok.
The video.
I'm taking a video now, yeah.
Of the bus heading down the hill.
Steep roads. Do you want to be in it?
Oh my god, it's crazy. Wooden leg, he was a pirate who set foot at Pigeon Island. There he spied and attacked the passing Spanish vessels. Then the English came in 1605, not being blown away on their vessels. Just a brief history of the island.
After that history lesson, it's back to the boat and on to Grenada and St. George's. We arrive in the rain, but it soon clears and you get a view of the town and a rainbow over the flag. Grenada can only afford a driver with the bus and not a guide, but he's okay. He asks if there are any Scots on board and points to the area in the picture, saying that that is populated by descendants of Scots. So I am popular, and we drive along the coast and pass this area where the pirates used to hide their ships before attacking the Spanish galleons. The island is volcanic again, and the beaches are not that sandy. An egg bush. We stop at a spice factory, and Grenada is famous for its spices, the principal one being nutmeg. But then there are cloves, cinnamon, and many others. Further on we stop at the main nutmeg factory on the island. There only is one main one now, and they're pretty clear as to what the workers can and cannot do. There are the nutmegs, and our guide demonstrates the ones that float aren't any good, the ones that sink are fine. Workers, bring God's peace inside and leave the devil's noise outside. We need that more often. It's a Sunday and there's an election in the offing, so there are a number of rather inebriated people around. An hour's drive to L'Étang Forest and volcano, and that's where the volcano erupted from, the lake. It was not worth the drive really. And our final stop was the Annandale Waterfall. An interesting waterfall, and the Annandale Jumping Association were there. And they were supposed to do a demonstration of jumping off these rocks into the water, but I guess it was lunchtime and there was nobody there. But they did have the tip box out, ready for action. Some interesting plants in the area. Ginger.
Some of our fellow travelers coming down.
Back to the ship, and it's off to Port of Spain, where we're greeted by a steel band. Trinidad, with a population of 1.4 million, at its nearest point is 7 miles from Venezuela. And our tour is highlights of Port of Spain. There are no tours outside the city, and our guide is an elderly lady, but fine. We drive through the city, passing a policeman looking very smart, some skyscrapers, and they pride themselves in justice being done orderly and quickly. The Anglican Cathedral, I think, and the Art and Cultural Centre. And this is one of the Archbishop's houses, not sure Catholic or Episcopal. And we end up at the Botanical Gardens. In the Botanical Gardens in Port of Spain. Slight improvement on the ones in the Bahamas, but not a lot further than so far.
Very, very fun drink, actual fruit. That's why see, if you look on the sign, you see they even call it hog apple because it's really
So different colours on the bark because somebody painted it. That was a eucalyptus tree. We leave the botanicals with a view of a telipop palm, and then it's up to Lady Young's lookout for a view of the city. The city is quite large, as you can see, and interestingly the population is 30% African, 30% Indian and 30% mixed with 0.65 European. Our final stop is a cultural show. I'll let you listen. The dancers, including the limbo dancer in the front, and then we're off at sea in the Atlantic again. The sea is actually quite rough, and we both feel rather unwell after Pilates. The next day it has calmed down a bit, but the ship is still rolling, and now we're making our way south towards the entrance to the Amazon, and it is May the 31st.